So, Semino, hello everyone. I'm Axel Nikes, the ambassador of the European Union to Mongolia. Today I am proposing a podcast on gender-based violence. So this is a part of a series of podcasts that we are launching with some key interlocutors to draw awareness, exchange information, also think and reflect on some key social issue. And it's also our 16 days of campaign against gender-based violence. And I have the great pleasure to invite today Dr. Khalid, who is the head of office of the UNFPA and basically the driving force of this 16 days campaign against gender-based violence. So I would propose maybe Dr. Khalid to have a few words on this campaign, what we try to achieve together with the UNFPA and other partners, and obviously the government of Mongolia and civil society. And maybe after we will go back to gender-based violence on some specific aspect, because it's a very multifaceted issue, and maybe to concentrate more on the economic cost of gender-based violence.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ambassador. Actually, violence against women and girls is a global human rights violation, and it's also one of the strong economic challenge for the global, also at the country level. Gender-based violence is one of the key challenge for Mongolia. More than half of Mongolian women has experienced gender-based violence during their lifetime. And the 2017 survey is the only comprehensive data, and that shows that more than 1/3 of women have experienced gender-based violence 12 months before the survey. So it's a major challenge for Mongolia, and the main purpose of this campaign is also to promote men and boys engagement in fight against gender-based violence, to stop violence and make a public stand against violence against women and girls.
Yeah, I found very interesting your take actually that this year you decided to be very much focused on the role of the male part of the population, because this is a topic for everyone. It's not just a woman issue or a domestic issue or family issue. Actually, it's the whole society is concerned, and I find it's really a good idea to involve also participation of male actors, stakeholders, also to have their view and their position on an issue where we should have zero tolerance level. And I think the figures are quite alarming. Also that we were together 2 weeks ago when the Minister of Justice opened a multidisciplinary platform to also address gender-based violence. So there are things happening in Mongolia. The law is there, the legal framework is there, but as often it's all matter of implementation. And I think your point of being informed, awareness raising, is very important also. So to come back to the economic cost, because usually gender-based violence is perceived as an obvious breach of fundamental human rights, and there are many of them that are concerned, also having impact on family, on children, but often this economic cost is not very much reported. So I'm very curious to have your take on the economic cost of gender-based violence.
Yes. Economic cost of gender-based violence is very critical for the country, especially for the policymakers, for the managers, to have a clear understanding about the cost of gender-based violence in the country, to invest on prevention, treatment, and support for the GBV survivors.
Can you have an example on what does it mean in terms of economic opportunity loss, or what we call the informal sector?
Actually, the 2017 survey was the only comprehensive data on gender-based violence, and there was a follow-up analysis of that survey, and showed that the gender-based violence, and specifically intimate partner violence, cost around $247 million a year for the Mongolia, which is related to the direct service cost, at the same time out-of-pocket expenditure, unpaid household production and care, foregone income, and productivity loss.
That's very interesting because this is very important. It also shows that this is a community issue. This is an issue for all society, because I don't want to be cynical, but there is also clearly an economic loss and a business opportunity loss. And how do you think we can address this concretely with our Mongolian partners?
Actually, if we look at the services, there are one-stop service center, shelter, but we need to expand the coverage of those services to reach all survivors. At the same time, focus more on prevention side. Because with the prevention, we can address the root causes of gender-based violence to reduce the economic impact in the future. So more interventions are needed to address the prevention of gender-based violence in the country.
And in terms of awareness raising, how do you see the efforts that we can do jointly? Also that maybe in some rural area there is less access to service, to care, to support, to shelter. Women living in rural areas are not more exposed. This is an overall problem, I would say, but they have less access, given sometimes some isolation or remote area, to proper support.
Yeah, actually, awareness raising can focus at different levels, at the individual level, to understand the importance of gender equality and consequences of gender-based violence, at the family level, to have a better understanding of decision-making involving women and men in decision-making, how to address relationship disputes and conflict. At the same time, at the community level, to mobilize support of communities to address the root causes of gender-based violence. And at the same time, at the bigger society level, to change the culture or the social norms that facilitate gender-based violence and negative masculinity in the society.
Can you give us an example?
Actually, at the community level, one of the norms that is common, that men are strong and they have the right to control everything. They have the right to make a decision. They have the right to hit the wife or control the behavior of wife or partner. So those are the social norms that needs to be addressed. And
stereotypes,
with exactly. And with the support of community and mobilization of the community elders, influential leaders, we can address those issues.
So in other terms, it's everyone's responsibility.
Exactly.
And the good news is that everyone can do something. We can be actor of change. I think that's a very positive message.
Exactly. This is the positive message that men are not part of the problem, they are part of the solution. They can address gender inequality.
I like that motto. And it's probably the motto also for these 16 days is that men are part of the solution. And I really love this inclusive approach. That's very positive. Thank you so much, Dr. Khalid. It was really a pleasure having you, even though it's a very serious and sometimes tragic issue. It's also important to show that there is an engagement, there are solutions, and that, as we said, everyone is part of the solution.
Thank you so much.